Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jonathan Cohn, and today I have my book review of the book Ford County Stories by John Grisham. This is a novella collection that he did that is set in his fictional county of Ford County. Now, I've read 10, this is my 10th John Grisham book that I've read. I've read 9 of his novels, and then this is his novella collection that I've read. And I've enjoyed every book I've read of his. Not everyone is the most fantastic book ever, but I've enjoyed all of the books. I think he's a terrific writer, certainly jumping up my list of favorite authors. And Ford County Stories is a delightful and really well done book. However, it's got some really dark moments, some really comedic moments, and some really heart-wrenching moments throughout the book. So I'm going to take this time in my review to go through each novella or novelette. It's really hard to determine whether or not they're novellas or novelettes because the definition kind of blurs. So this is shorter fiction. These are not short stories, but they're novellas or novelettes. It's kind of hard to, narrow it down that much, but I'll call them novellas for the purpose of this video. I spent way too much time thinking about that. Anyway, short stories and novellas and novelettes are not my cup of tea normally. I am a novel person. Give me plenty of novels to read. I'll read novels all day long. Novels are my jam, so I don't really read that many short stories or novellas, and when I do read them, I don't always enjoy them. So I decided to give this one a read. And this book has 7 novellas in it. The 7 novellas all, of course, feature either characters from Ford County or actually take place in Ford County, Mississippi, that he created. It's kind of like William Faulkner created Yoknapatawpha County for his novels. Ford County is John Grisham's version of that. And the most famous, I think, book from Ford County is probably A Time to Kill, although several of the other books take place in there as well. So going through, let me break it down story by story. The first story is titled Blood Drive, and this was the most shocking, you wrote that, story in the bunch. This is about a group of 3 young men who are all assigned to go give blood in Memphis, Tennessee, to try to help out one of their friends and one of their neighbors who has been in a major accident. So they drive up to Memphis to try to give blood, and they get drunk along the way on their trip up there, and so shenanigans ensue. They get in a chase with the police. They get in. They have to deal with finding one of their wallets when they lose it, and they go to a place of ill repute, is what I'm going to call it. I am not going into detail. Let's just say they go to a place of ill repute to do things of ill repute that is not appropriate and not good for society. And this story was humorous and entertaining, but not my favorite. So I gave it this story was a 7 out of 10. We also had the story Fetching Raymond. This is a story about a mother and her 2 sons who drive up to the local penitentiary where her son, Raymond, is incarcerated, and he's actually on death row. And this is her final visit with him before he is set to be executed. And you follow the mother's struggle as she wants to do whatever she can to help her son. You follow her son's struggles, the 2 that are with her in the car, as they are just so frustrated with their brother and his the one who's in jail, who's relentlessly optimistic. And then you follow the one who's in jail, who has really turned his life around in jail, and he has this relentless optimism that he's going to get free. They're going to stay his execution. They're going to pardon him. He's going to make it out. And you follow him as he tries to convince either the Supreme Court or to convince the governor or convince the president that he should be spared. And you really feel for all these characters. You really empathize with them. And it was a strong story. And it does not have the most pleasant of endings, but it's really well written and really compelling. So I gave this one an 8 out of 10. We also had the story Fish Files, which is about a lawyer who basically gets this opportunity to get rich quick with this lawsuit, with this settlement. And so he basically kind of goes a little bit crazy and decides to leave his wife, leave his daughter, and just, go away and take the money and all this stuff. This was by far the closest story in the book to a standard John Grisham novel. This really reminded me of The Rooster Bar in many ways, but this could have been a whole novel in and of itself, knowing John Grisham's writing style. It was not the most entertaining book in the collection, but it was entertaining, so I gave it like a 7 out of 10. Then we had the fourth novella. This, by far, was the best novella in the collection. It's the middle novella in the collection, the fourth one, called Casino. It is brilliant, absolutely hilarious, delightful, and brilliant. This is about a guy who decides to he wants to build a casino because he wants to make a lot of money from the casino. But there are all these regulations, these federal regulations, when it comes to having a casino. However, those regulations do not apply on Indian lands. So what does this guy do? Of course, he's a very white guy. He's very, he's very pasty white. He decides to go and convince the government that he is part Indian, and convinces them that he is part of an Indian tribe that he forms in this book, in this novella, and then he gets a bunch of his friends to all convince the government that they're part Indian, part of his tribe, and then they break ground on this land, and they build a casino on this Indian land, and they all dress up like Indians, and it's so irreverent, and it's just hilarious. And that alone would have been super entertaining of a story if it had been a short story instead, and it had just been about the creation of the casino. It would have been hilarious. But it becomes a full novella when this couple, a husband and wife, basically the wife leaves the husband and ends up with the casino owner. And the husband goes and learns how to play blackjack and tries to bankrupt the casino. That part of the story was also delightful, hilarious, and really entertaining. So by far, that novella, I gave it a 10 out of 10. Best novella in the collection. I was hooked on that novella. It was great. Then you have the fifth novella called Michael's Room, and this you swing from the most funny, humorous, lighthearted, delightful novella to one of the darkest and saddest novellas in the collection. Michael's Room is about a lawyer who gets kidnapped by this family that he beat in a trial years earlier. And this family has a child who was in a surgery and was brain damaged, and brain damage beyond repair, basically. So the child is basically, immobile, can't do anything without help. And so this lawyer convinced the jury that the family was just trying to grift the doctor and grift the insurance company, and was able to convince them not to give the family any money. And so now this family is desperate, and they basically force the lawyer to see what their child is actually like at home. And it is a sad, depressing, really excellently done, well done story. I was very riveted and moved by this story, and I thought that it really made me look at some of these issues from a different lens. And so I thought that was a great story. I gave it a 9 out of 10. Then we had the story Quiet Haven. This is about a guy who goes to a nursing home facility to work there so that he can try to grift the people. So basically he tries to get in nice with the people there so that they'll leave him their money in their will. That's basically what it's about. And this was the only story in the novella collection I didn't like. This was a story that I was like, you know what? I didn't appreciate it. I didn't find it that interesting or funny. I thought that the main character was just despicable, and I just did not care reading about him. So I gave this one like a 4 out of 10. It was not that deep. It was not that interesting. Yeah. Then you had the novella Funny Boy. This is about a young man from a prominent family who is diagnosed with AIDS, and it's bad. It's a bad bout of AIDS, and he's really sick, and it looks like he's going to die. And so he ends up needing to have a full-time nurse to take care of him when he's basically on his deathbed. And everybody treats him terribly because in a small town in Mississippi, when you have AIDS, they figure out what that means about your lifestyle, and they're not all too happy about your lifestyle. And so this man is treated horribly by his family, by his friends, by everybody. There's only one person who treats him with respect and helps him out, and that's his nurse, who basically has to, but she also does it because she wants to be a kind person. And you really feel for this story. And the last page of this story just hit me in the gut. I just thought, why do you do this to me, John Grisham? And this is the last novella in the collection. Why do you do this? Why do you leave the novella collection on such a sad, somber note? Why do you have to gut punch your audience like this? If he had ended the novella collection with Casino, you'd be ending on a high. Good things are happening. This is funny. This is delightful. This is entertaining. Woohoo! Instead, he decides to end it on the sad and somber and serious note. And it was just, oh my, it was something else. So overall, and I give that one an 8 out of 10. It was really well done. So overall, this novella collection is terrific. It's terrific. There's the one novella I didn't like, but everything else I either liked or loved. I'm telling you, that the Casino novella for me was worth the price of admission, as my dad would say. Worth the price of admission. Totally great novella. I could see a whole movie being done based off of that novella. I think that would be a really interesting movie. You may need to pad it out a little bit, but I think it'd be interesting. But if you've read the Ford County Stories by John Grisham, let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. Let me know which of the novellas was your favorite and least favorite and why, and discuss some of the spoilers with me. I'd love to talk about some of the spoilers a little bit more. So if you, so I give this like an 8 or 8.5 out of 10. I still need a little time. I think I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. I really loved it. So if you've read this, let me know your thoughts, and until next time, I'm Jonathan, and thank you for watching.